Hey, you. Welcome to Selfish Me. I'm Cam, a business psychologist and a proud late bloomer who finally stopped living by everyone else's rules. And this is your space to pause, reconnect, and build a life that feels true to you. Because putting yourself first isn't selfish, it's powerful. Hello, you. Welcome back. Today we have a special episode with our guest, Joyce. Joyce is a leadership and management coach who has a background in psychology and has a passion for human connection. Beyond her corporate world, she works on one-to-one with women as a life and dating coach, helping them navigate complexities of dating and relationship with confidence and clarity. And I can vouch for that because she also helped me with my dating profile. And ladies, I got way better dates than I was getting before. The quality has increased. Tune in because you're gonna get some very practical tips from Joyce. So Joyce have navigated the dating scene throughout her 20s and 30s before meeting her wonderful husband. So she truly understands the challenges that arise when you're dating in your 30s. She's a published author of Diamond Steps to Success, and she's a firm believer that one of the secrets to successful dating is value alignment. When she's not coaching or writing, you can find her in a room teaching Zumba. Look at that move. She already has the move. I am so excited. Welcome, Joyce.
Thank you for having me, Camilla. I really feel privileged to be on your podcast this evening to really help encourage others who are navigating the dating scene. And yeah, I'm hoping that this really does bring values because it is one of my passions, especially when I see relationships and common issues that show up and that can easily be discussed before we even get deep. So really looking forward to discussing more with you.
Absolutely. So, would you like to let our audience a little bit more about your dating experience?
Sure. So, oh my goodness, dating was challenging because it was balancing work and life. Uh, as the quite ambitious woman, want to level up and continue to grow in career, and want to be able to add value in many other ways. For example, the book that I wrote, it will be 7 years ago now, Diamond Steps to Success. So writing that, publishing the ebook and the audio book was one of my dreams. And so I'm very passionate about helping people reach their goals. And so, yeah, pouring energy into that, but also um, working full time. And so navigating the dating scene was something that I had to be intentional about. I did know, and I'll be honest, I've always wanted to be married. And so I knew this was something that I desired and something that I needed to be intentional about. And so navigating, balancing career progression during 20s and then reaching 30s and realizing that, yeah, I really want to find someone long term that is as intentional about life as I am, but also adds a different sort of value to my life as I will add to them. And so the time that I decided that, okay, I was going to try a different avenue was actually just after COVID or in the middle of slash just after COVID. So the scene was dating apps. That's where it was at. People weren't just meeting naturally. And so I decided to take the plunge and take the leap and set up a profile. I tried various dating sites or apps and then decided on Hinge. It would be great to get some royalties from Hinge because I told a lot of people about it. But I do know a lot of people that found their lifelong person via Hinge. And so I remember their tagline, the dating app that is designed to be deleted. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
Elizabeth Day, she also met her partner on Hinge.
Mhm.
Over there, and you've mentioned, I remember also seeing your dating profile. You showed me your dating
I
profile.
did. Yes.
So that every time you went on the dates and based on what type of people you have met,
Yeah.
you were in your profile saying, okay, so clearly my message
Yeah.
doesn't attract the right people. And I thought, oh my God, it's almost like a CV, if you get the right.
Yes, you gotta adapt it. Exactly. You gotta adapt it. If you attract a certain sort of partner with one profile and you can see a trend going on, okay, maybe something needs to change because you are the constant. You are the person that is constantly getting this result. So actually each time, yes, I did adapt it because I thought, oh, maybe I'm not clear enough about what it is I'm looking for and what my values are. So let's just refine that. And my husband now says that, one of the things that really attracted him to my profile is that I was really intentional. I was very clear about what it was that were my values, what it was that I wanted for the future. And that attracted him along with the pictures that I put up. Um, that in combination, he knew that actually this is someone that could be long term.
Love that. So when you said like you were very clear on your profile with your values, did you list them bullet points? Because that's what I'm going to.
No, because that's what you'll do for a job, and that's what you'll do for your like brand. So no, this is a different space now. So when we're talking about dating and relationships, it's putting it in a way that comes across fun, putting it in a way that comes across where yes, the message is clear, but it's not corporate. It's not a CV, right? It's okay. How do I express this side of myself in a way that is relational and fosters connection and curiosity. And so I remember for one part on my profile, it said that I really value communication. So, something about communication, but also something about building together. And I think that part stood out to him because he knew this is not a short term thing. If we're building together, this is a long term investment. And so that attracted him because I wasn't building alone, I was looking to build together.
Love that. Wow, that's such a big difference. And like what signals short term and long term. So, for those who are listening, I actually went to Joyce for a advice on my dating profile when I was dating. And my mistake was that I treated like a recruitment, pretty much almost like, uh, in like in a sense that I just wanted to get it right, and I thought like more people I would meet, I would get there, but my profile wasn't reflecting who I was as a person. I think um, it looked casual. I think you said it when you had a look through it. They said, "Oh, it looks a little bit casual, like you're not looking for a long term." And then we've changed pictures that they were like more reflection of me and also a few other things. So I had like it was just quite interesting all this stuff that you said it about my profile because all the things you said it were correct because that's the type of guys I was attracting for the dates who are not willing to put the effort, who are not looking for long term, and they were just attracted to the idea of this is something fun and casual,
Mhm.
which is exactly opposite of what I wanted. And when I've changed it, I went a few dates, and actually majority of them went past date one, which
Mhm.
and then one went for like 6 days, but the guy like put so much effort.
Mm.
Like people actually put effort, and all of the three guys that went after your tips on my dating, they all put effort, and that was one of the things I've complained to your side. People in this age, they do not put effort. They
Yeah.
just or the next thing. They have so many options because I think
Mhm.
online dating creates that illusion that you have unlimited options in
Yeah.
changing and whatever,
Yes.
and not putting effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think again, the effort that you put in your profile, being intentional, is really, really important. And as you mentioned, you started to attract a different sorts of partners who did put in effort. I mean, you met my husband, you were at our wedding, so you know the type of person that I've attracted, and it's a genuine love there. It's almost palatable. I believe that you felt at our wedding ceremony. So it's like, how do we attract, if that is what you're looking for, that sort of person? Because there are guys out there that will put in effort. Our first date, he bought me flowers. The first date, he opened the door. He really put that effort in. And in fact, the phone stand I'm using right now was a gift. Like I said in my belt, that's what I'm using right now.
Yes.
Exactly. So it's knowing what you value, knowing what you want to put across, and just being able to communicate that in a non-harsh way. There's you know, especially if we're talking about men here, there's a way of communicating to create safety. There's a way of communicating to create that approachability, and that they can still be themselves, but they still need to put in effort because you are a woman of quality and of value. You are doing things, you are making moves, and so you want someone to be able to add to that, to accompany that, to applaud that, to not be intimidated by that. And so I think that some of my accomplishments I introduced a little bit later on. It wasn't on the first day. I might, mention, oh, by the way, I'm an author. But later down the line, when we were dating, I did mention it. And it's interesting because when I did mention it to my now husband, he was not intimidated at all. He said, oh, that's really cool. Like, that's quite an achievement. And then a couple of days later, I knew he read it because he told me about some of the things I wrote in there. So that already was a huge tick because it shows that he's made the effort. I might have mentioned to you that our first date, he, at the time I was working in education in schools. And so I had the day free, but he worked full time. And he took half a day for our date. I said I wanted to meet in the afternoon. I did not want to meet in the evening with someone that I didn't fully know. And he said, okay, well, I'm going to take half day. And I think that I still appreciate that to this day, but it just shows where he prioritized even our dating. That was the first time we'd met in person. So, I knew that this is a quality person because they have foregoed some of their, work. They haven't said, oh, no, just when I have free time. He's made that intention. So I think also under helping others understand that, yes, your time is precious. I remember that time I was just like, all good, it's going, all good, all going, just dropping the hits, and so he picked it up eventually, and then we went on a date. But that effort, but also, when going back to your profile, what pictures do you put that show that you are someone that wants something long term? I think the easiest way, the first step is if you're trying to chat me, if you were a man and you looked at your profile, what would you think?
Okay. So looking through your profile from man lenses, basically.
Yeah.
But if I'm not a man, how I would know what they think?
Yeah, I'm not a man. So I like looking.
Not when it comes to human connection, not dating. Honestly, I mean, you're one of the few people I know who has been so intentional about dating and got it exactly what they put it and what they wanted. Like I know people who have met on the dating apps, but I don't think so. It was as intentional. I think it was almost like luck to some extent. Where I think with you were so clear that this is what I wanted, this is how it's going to happen. I still remember when you were going on a holiday and you were saying, yeah, I'm expecting a ring. I was like, oh my God.
We were in the office, weren't we? We were in the office. I think when I said that.
Yeah, over lunch. And I was like, I want to sit next to her, but I'm kind of terrified, but I also want to help. Does this? I had such a mixed feelings. I was like, how can you do it? Because sometimes I can't get a guy to like meet and you will be chatting for weeks and you are like, we've been dating for X amount of time. We've done X, Y, Z. It's time to get engaged. I'm like, because he knows there's a timeline. Is he aware of this?
Yes, absolutely. So I think there's something quite attractive when someone knows what it is they want and also what it is that they can give. Being in a relationship is it really is a wonderful thing with the right person. If it's not with the right person, it could be just a disaster. But it starts from the foundation. It almost starts from the roots in the ground before you see the tree and the leaves and the fruit. And so, we obviously got to know each other. We communicated, even on the app, it was two-way. Each day we communicated. When he said he'll call, he called. I had been on dates where people say they'll do things and they didn't. And I'll hold them accountable. You mentioned, not in a obsessive way, but if you said something, fulfill it. Your word is what I have. So if you don't fulfill your word, then how can I trust you? And I did go on a date with someone who was exactly like that. And it's so funny because actually, I just remember that phone call after he said he was scared. He was shaking or something. And I was like, well, you said you were going to do something and you didn't. And all I have is your word. So almost you can't ask me to trust you if I can't trust your word. And so, I think that, having that communication, calling when we say we will navigate in that, giving space for that person to share, because you know about someone when they open their mouths, isn't it? So giving them that space, really listening, asking questions. You're good at that. I mean, asking questions and showing that interest.
Leave dates very happy. They go, oh my God, I didn't think of X, Y, Z, because they have like mini coaching session with me where I'm leaving. It's like, no, I don't want this. So,
Yeah, exactly. So you give them opportunity. And if you ask, people will talk. People will talk. They'll tell you about themselves. And, I remember a date that I had. The guy just spoke about himself for the entire 2.5 hours. I was genuinely shocked that someone could just talk and ask my question.
I had the same situation, and we went to an art exhibition because I want to do something, and I thought it'd be nice, like you walk, so it's like, you can release the stress, because it's the first date. And I swear to God, the guy talked for 2 hours, and he only asked me one question. And so the exhibition was like photographs of wild animals, and he asked me what is my favorite animal throughout the whole thing. And at the end, of the guest to ask me if I would meet again, and I said no. And he asked why. It's like, because for the 2 hours, you literally did not ask me more than what is my favorite animal. And he was like, oh, but I didn't want to bombard you with questions. Like, so you
Bombard?
about you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. To be honest, I think that, as women, we do have the ability, especially in our profession, we come from profession where you ask powerful questions and you get good answers. Sometimes people aren't as skilled in that area, and that's okay, but you still want to show an interest. You still want to, even in other ways, show the interest. I remember going on a date and we went to a restaurant and the guy bought for himself, and then we left the restaurant. We got back to where we were, and I said, you enjoying that? I said, oh, sorry, did you want anything? I said, wow, that just told me enough. I said, wow. But no, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I like. But the guy who didn't ask me any questions except the favorite animal, I just got a sense that he was not interested in me. So I thought,
That's it.
me just see if he actually noticed that I'm here.
Yeah.
As a person he wants to potentially date. And obviously, I could have stopped him, but I was like, okay, let me just see how long he can go on. And he went on for 2 hours until I was like, okay, I can go home now.
Yes, exactly.
I could stop him, but I was just like, if he gonna realize or like,
Yeah. Exactly what is happening here. I mean, as I mentioned, they might have the good questions to ask, but show that interest in another person, and it's just that interest. And so that is something that was important to me, even if people didn't ask me powerful questions. I have questions.
so there's like few things. One, I would love to know what type of pictures you would put out there for our single ladies if they're creating a profile. And the second question, you said you would ask about the financial, or you will ask your big questions, but in a not interviewing way.
Intimate, yeah.
So what that would sound like?
Okay, so you asked about types of pictures. I always say, number one, for women, do not put ever pictures with your friends. Definitely not, because you want the person who's looking at your profile to be focused on you. You should be the focal point, not any other women. No, because they already put yourself. you want him to be focused on you. That's it. So the picture should reflect all your interests, what you're interested in. If it's traveling, yes, traveling. If it's, whatever it is that you're interested in, whatever side you want to put out there. Um, I think when I think about the pictures that I use, I remember one was going out, one was in my room, one was, a lot of them were me smiling. Men like women that smile. So smiling is and you go, come. Okay, let's not start with your teeth because that's you've had a lot of that. Teeth, amazing. So straight, perfect. But yeah, smiling is so important. So yeah, it's important to smile in your pictures again, showing that approachability, not scary. You are someone that is approachable, someone that is loving, someone that's kind. So yeah, smiling is really important. Um, I want to say also, if you have a pet, like not to have your pet as one of the pictures. Some people might, but you with your pet is good, but on its own, mm, I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity there. He's not dating the pet, yeah. So that's another tip. Colors are good. Help you stand out. Something that my husband mentioned was that I think he said, you've commented on a picture. It was a birthday picture actually, and I had a blue dress on with flowers on it. And I was smiling and I was happy. I was in my element. And he said that really attracted him because I was just living my best life. I was smiling. It was bright. It was joyful. And I had people, but not in my picture. So the second one was about finances and asking those serious questions.
Like just in general, like how you ask those serious questions, and at what stage in dating you would ask them?
Mm. The topics like finances, partners in the past, previous romantic relationships, deep family questions. That's for like later down the line. Even though it's important and a priority, it's not for the first, second, or third date, I won't say, even though it's important. Um, Again, your values kind of speak by what you're interested in, what you're doing with your life. So they know that, you say, oh, one day I'd like to own a house. You need money for that. So if you're thinking about owning a house, then of course you're going to be looking at, what you need to save to own a house. So already that's kind of sprinkled in. You're not asking directly, but when you just, if money and time wasn't an issue to you, like what would your dream be? Like where would you want to live in the future? It's interesting because I was born and bred in London, and so I was kind of done with London. I knew I didn't want to live like throughout my life in London. Um, but I didn't know where else. I just knew that I was open to other areas. And so you just have those conversations. Have you ever traveled outside of London? Have you ever traveled outside of England? Those curious questions because then they lead further down the line. Oh, you mentioned that you went to Kenya. How was that? Would you ever consider living that there? Those sorts of things. Then they segue into those conversations because especially with finances, it can be very sensitive because you're coming from two different backgrounds. I'm very open. I'm not nervous talking about finances as well. I enjoy it. I'm actually on a financial course right now. I'm like, tell me more. Like, tell me about investments. Come on, tell me, tell me. It excites me to learn more, but for some other people, it's a little bit more sensitive depending on their background. So rather than saying, how much you have in the bank or, that what's your credit score? It might be more, I can't remember if I asked that. Maybe I did, I don't know. I'll later down the line if I did ask though. It might be more so like, you know, if you if you did want to get a house, like what type of house are you thinking about? Because then also you're thinking about so almost asking the question in a different way so that it's not intimidating. Or, when you were growing up, um, what was finances that are spoken about in your home, and then you get a better picture of where they're coming from. Because if it wasn't, okay, that hints to you that okay, this isn't something that they might be comfortable around, and so I need to be a bit more gentle in that area. Um, And so, like, issue bit by bit, not on one date having it all because then it can feel like an interview, but also being open to the area that you're not proficient at. Like, my husband can speak Japanese, right? So he speaks Japanese. I'm not proficient in another language, but he is. And I found that so fascinating. And it's quite interesting because he said he doesn't tend to say that early in relationships because sometimes people think he's weird for mentioning it. I would look like, what? Start with that. Yeah, tell me more about that. I love that because the fact that he can speak Japanese, like that's a whole different, like, what? Do you know what I mean?
Their languages, Yeah.
Yeah, and I know it's a very difficult one as well, but the fact that he lived in Japan, that tells me that he's got open mind. That tells
Yeah.
me that he would be open to pivoting and understanding different cultures. Well, from the same culture, but it's still good to know that and that's one of my values, open mind, to be open minded. And so, yeah, you're telling me about you in other ways, and I'm asking you about you in other ways rather than direct.
I love that. Yeah, and take a check. I think it's almost like inviting person to a conversation, like a starter before you have that main course.
Yeah.
Like, test it a little bit. How we feeling about this? What's the body language? How they're responding? And then you go, okay, later on we can, have a bigger conversation. I really
Yeah.
like. It's quite interesting. I also feel like dating in my 20s is so different in my 30s, and also before and post COVID, and like how
Mhm.
spends online, where I feel like even in my late 20s before COVID, men would approach me like I've met somebody at a salsa class, I met somebody on the bus, I've dated, like I've dated people because I've met them somewhere,
Yeah.
approach them, or they've approached me because I'm happy to approach as well. And then once the dating apps became such a big boom, I feel like people are less likely to approach you in real life. Also,
Mhm.
work from home, so it might be a little bit different. But I do travel, like I still go out and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I think it's just different
It
of
is.
how people are approaching dating in general. And one of the stuff that I found it really hard on dating apps is like messaging and like not leading to a meeting. And I love what you said about your husband. That he took the time to meet you.
Yes. Yes.
Like wonderful, because people are like, oh, this week doesn't work and this and that. I'm like, I don't have the energy for that.
Yeah.
Solves for that. I can't remember the name of it, but basically, once you match, you put the dates you're available, and they match the dates, and like they book you basically for a date. Can't remember the name now of it.
Okay.
Breeze. That's the one, Breeze. So basically, but you don't chat with the person beforehand. Some people don't like that. I actually don't mind, because if we've matched based on the profiles and what we've put over there, like I'm more than happy to leave the house and go. And like I actually would rather leave and meet the person sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing, I think it is, you don't want to drag out the communication on the apps for too long. Okay, I know, I mean, we're in 2026. I know apps is not, more people are meeting in person because it is post COVID. So that's understandable. But I think that, if you are on apps because of time or whatever it is, yes, meeting sooner rather than later is better. You don't want to drag it out for too long because things can get in the way. But keeping up that communication daily, it's not too much to check in with the person. How are you doing today? How are things going? How's your day? Just hearing a little bit more about them and then being willing to meet. I would definitely recommend. I mean, he organised a first date for an activity. I think for our first date, we went mini golfing, and then the next one we went pottery, and then the next one we did a cooking experience. Like these are different sort of dates. This isn't just meeting in a cafe and having a sandwich. This is and I organize some. I like to think of myself as quite a fair person. So, I didn't want it to be all on him. So then I organized something, and it was, but different experiences exposes different parts of the person. So, I got to see a side of him when he was trying to teach me to, mini golf, or we got to make something together in pottery, or, we had a cooking experience. Can he cut onions without fire? He can do it. Great. So let me keep that in there. I'm still doing that.
I was like, I feel you.
I feel you. He was willing. He put his hand, he was willing to go. And I thought, nice, okay, great. So it's just but that willingness, he's not too of a what do they call it? Too much bravado. I'm not chopping any onions. Okay, why not? Let's try.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I love that you guys did different activities. So I've tried different activities later on the days. And like I said, we went to exhibition and we did a picnic in
Yes.
the park. It was really lovely. And the guy baked something. I think he
Oh,
baked,
lovely.
which just was really, really nice, really thoughtful. And
Okay.
honestly, even though it didn't work out long term, it definitely rebuilt the faith in me that actually there are men who are willing to put.
Was it post the changing of your
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was post yours. Yeah, the only days that literally put effort was post your
wow.
tips on my.
Well, consultation on your dating profile. Right.
I mean, it's
Very good.
few times ago, but it's definitely the quality of the dates has changed, and I think how they perceive me it reflected more who I was. So I removed the pictures with a friend. I removed something else, and I've added like more stuff that I do that I
Yeah.
enjoy it, and they were all smiling and like. I think the feedback I got it from all the messages like, oh my God, you have such a lovely smile. Because the first picture was me smiling and
Yes.
was traveling. I was out with my sister, just really,
Yes.
really like
Absolutely.
the moment of like capturing that joy. And I think
Exactly.
getting that vibe from you. And I've also found it's quite
Exactly.
interesting. The other bit I love what you said before, it was preparing and creating space for your future partner.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I have a second wardrobe in my bed.
So should we explain that just because we had the conversation, but others might not know. But there was just something I wanted to mention before creating space for your partner. Something that you mentioned about the vibe that was felt. That first picture of you smiling. It's not just the picture and it's not just the smile. There's what's happening in your day. There is a certain vibration. There is a certain feeling people can pick up on when you are genuinely happy. When you're in an environment where you're just happy, living the best life. Just literally, his first message to me was, Joyce, I see you living your best life, right? And it was literally on, so he wasn't there, but you could feel that there was joy in the room. And so, that attracts something different there. So I just wanted to pick up on that. It's not just the smile or the colors, it's what's happening, where you are in that time that you put the picture up is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so going back to creating space, would you like to give a little bit
Yeah.
of the slide?
Yeah. So I think that when I decided that, you know what, this is something that I want. I know it's not going to happen straight away because that's not how life works. But, I want to create space in my physical realm, but also in my mental space. So I actually was very intentional about, even in my wardrobe, creating space, not packing things up. Now, it's so easy to accumulate things, but actually being intentional to create space. I think actually at one point I started sleeping on one side of my bed, just preparing myself.
You take that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just preparing myself. I'm gonna need to share my bed one day or a bed one day. So actually, can I do that and not just spill over? Not saying that you should relax in your own bed, it's your bed, isn't it? But actually I'm gonna be sharing with someone one day. So I'm creating almost that life that I do want. It's almost seeing and believing before you actually see it in the physical realm and
Visualizing and
visualizing. Very, very important. I remember, I think I shared with you the other week that I would, visualize. This sounds so soppy, I know, but visualize walking on the beach with my husband. Didn't know what he looked like, had no idea. But literally, we did that last month in where were we, Barbados or Grenada? Went on a Caribbean cruise anyway. And we were walking on the beach and the sand was getting, I was just like, oh my gosh, as if I visualized this
yeah.
like how many years ago? 6, 7, 8 years ago, and here we are.
Can't believe it's been so many years now.
Well, the visualization. Well, visualization. We are. Yeah, time just fly. But I still remember the time of dating and singlehood. Like it's very dear to my heart because I know what it's like to really desire to be in a loving relationship, and there's a part of it that's out of your control. it is another person. The person can't just magic, them into being. But knowing what's important to me, commitment's important to me long term. I was watching, I mean, not to bring this, but there was a Netflix series called Blues Therapy. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I have seen it, and oh my
yeah.
God.
Oh yeah.
I watched that with my male friend, and he could say it straight away what was not right with the guy, especially. If you
Yes.
comment more on the guys, he was like,
Yes.
this,
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But it's so interesting because I was watching it with my husband, and he was just like, seriously, guys, what are you talking? You're together for 6, 7 years. What are you talking about? If you're not talking about the future, how it's going to be being a parent, like what conversations are you having? Why is one person shocked and another person just like it doesn't make sense to me? And it just I'm like, okay, relationship, people really need to know how to navigate this thing because it's not complicated, really. Have conversations, real conversations. Don't be afraid of it. And if you are afraid, then discuss that. Where does the fear come from? What was it like when you were growing up? Like, have conversations, people.
Yeah, on this point, like I think there's certain stuff that we are worried how it's going to be perceived. So one thing that I wouldn't share, well, actually, there was a point where I would share it, and then I stopped sharing it. Is about the fact that I have endometriosis and
Mhm,
what that looks like during my period or before, and that I'm just sometimes I'm not able to leave bed, and like in how much
mhm.
pain I am, and I just because in those days I didn't feel strong or fully myself. I kind of hidden that part because I wanted to be this capable, strong, fun
Mm,
person. So I would like not always share that, or like I wouldn't schedule dates around that time just in case if I wasn't feeling well or this wasn't my best self. And it's quite interesting because when I was younger I was sharing that, because I felt like I had to share it just in case if we were out and I was unwell, so they
mhm,
knew happening. So
mhm.
in my 30s it kind of shifted to like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to be that vulnerable with that person without knowing them, and like I can just
Yeah.
around it. So it's quite interesting. I think we all have something. But when I shared, it actually was always received was like, oh, I'm so sorry it's happening, and, with kindness. But I would always worried that they would see me differently as a weak person, I guess.
And I'd be curious to know why does that affect you in the way that it does, you being perceived as a weaker person?
Well, because I can't be myself, I'm not myself. I'm not the happy, healthy, outgoing, energetic person. Even my flatmate. So I had a very tough week a few weeks ago, and I just didn't have energy to smile, to have conversations or to joke around. And she took it very personally. I think to some extent, it's like, oh, are you upset with me? I was like,
Mhm,
no, my energy just goes into
mhm. Yeah.
I don't have energy for anything else. I'm like literally doing bare minimum in terms of
Mhm.
just living. And I think that is the element, like I'm worried that people will take it personally, that is something about them. Or they'll be like, oh, this person can't keep up with me during those times. And that happens almost every month.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, something so personal and health related, I won't say share on the first date. It's not something that if you don't feel comfortable, you should share. But if there's a part of you, as you get deeper into the dating relationship, if there's a part of you that does affect your everyday, yeah, they can know about it and you can see their response to it. My question to you about, being perceived as weaker, I think sometimes it can be quite challenging, especially when you're a go-getter, you accomplish things, you reach your goals, like you are it, right? You're doing it. But also, I think it's really precious to have that vulnerable side. Sometimes we will find ourselves in situations that we can't always be strong, and that's okay because it depends on again your desire. But the person can is that weakness almost gives them an allowance of caring for you. And that's okay. Be cared for. You don't have to be it all the time. It can be very exhausting being it all the time. Okay. And it's yeah, it is. So if someone needs to look after you, and it's really difficult, especially when you're quite self-sufficient. But I remember there were times that we went on dates and I had really bad period pains. Oh my goodness. Like, but I did want to go out because he was the highlight of my week. I was facing a lot of stuff at work and he was the highlight. So I wanted to show that I'm putting in that effort, but also share that this is what I'm going through. And, I just remember there was one situation that something was shared that made me really upset, and he just hugged me and said, "Whatever it is, we'll get through." And we weren't engaged at that time, but when he said that, I was just like, "This guy is for life. Like, this is my guy because he doesn't even know what's going on, but he has said whatever it is, we'll get through, and he has shown his commitment even to this day." So it's I think it's something to share later on, but it's okay to be cared for. It's okay, and it gives them, I think, for men, if it is men that I think for men, it's like, I can step up now. I can look after. It's giving me this sense of purpose where I can actually do something she can't do. I'm useful in a way that she can't do right now. Right?
That's right.
So,
So that
yes.
lenses to see through it. I love that. We are coming to the end of our time. What advice would you give to a lovely human being on the other side when it comes to dating in your 30s, in your mid 30s, late 30s, you know?
Oh, okay. So, what advice would I give? I would say it's really important to know your values. What it is you value in life. Is it communication? Is it honesty? Is it fun? Is it adventure? Whatever it is, know your value. It's not even about creating a list of, I want him to be tall, dark, and handsome. It's what values, because that tall, dark, and handsome can change at any time. Anything can happen, but your values tend to stay with you. And so it's really important to know what you value and what value you can also give. So that's really important. To be approachable. So much is going on in the world, so much options, so much this and that, but actually, to be open to what might not match your list exactly.
Yeah.
But if the values are there, then this is something special. So to be open, especially in your 30s, you're pretty accomplished somewhat. You've done quite a lot. Some people have their own homes and all this stuff. So, you know, um, to come with the openness and approachability that you are not a woman that can do it all on her own and I don't need no man and all of that stuff. It gives off the energy that isn't very attractive. I find from feedback from men, it's not attractive. So it's that softness. You can still be accomplished. You've got my books and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm accomplished, but I also have that openness and softness to know about you and what you want from life. And I'm curious as well. And yes, I appreciate it can be very energy consuming, especially if they talk for 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. But, paying attention to what is they say, but knowing that people can grow. But if they show you who they are, believe them. Believe them, please. Don't marry someone thinking they'll change. They will not. This is them. Okay. This is them, okay? And even more advanced when you're married to them. So whatever it is that you see, and also, if it is marriage you desire, honestly, best thing is to appreciate each other. Count your blessings, appreciate each other. I appreciate my husband every day, and he appreciates me as well. And it keeps the marriage alive and happy and fulfilled and radiating because there's no, oh, I've got 80, but I'm looking for the 20%. No, I'm happy with what I have, and I count my blessings. So I would also give those 2 pennies.
I love that. I absolutely love it. It's very interesting what you said about like the energy of like show that softness. I think that's maybe one thing I'm gonna take away for myself because I don't think so. I always do, especially if I'm in the zone of like I need to achieve this, and I think that's how I treated dating. It's like I'm gonna achieve this because with my flat in January 2000 something. I was like, okay, at the end of the year, I'm hosting Christmas party at my flat.
Yeah.
Got my flat end of October, redecorated the living room, and I had my Christmas. And I was like, wow, if I can make it with the flat, I can way harder than the thing. Next year, I had it, well, no, 2 years after I bought the flat. I was like, okay, in January, it's like, I'm going to go on a date.
I'm gonna get my lad.
I Christmas tree with the Christmas tree up the stairs because it's enjoy that part. I like decorating, but getting
Yes.
upstairs was a challenge. And you know what? I was dating somebody, but I think I was dating just to achieve that goal. He was in my
Yeah.
he's supposed to come and pick up Christmas tree with me. And he's like, oh, I actually can't do it.
Oh.
You've pushed it. He's not your person. Just stop
Yeah.
and like, and I told him, it's like, look, I actually want more time with you, more quality. He was like, I can't give you that.
Yeah.
One, thank you for the honesty, and two, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
For the whole year, I just had that mindset of I need to get it, I need to achieve it. And
Yeah.
I didn't really come across as I didn't show that softness.
Yeah, it's really tough again with women like us that are goal orientated. We have a mission, we have a goal, we reach it, we smash it, we go to the next thing. Like it is, it's how we get things done. It's within our control. But the thing is, when it comes to homes and houses and finance system jobs and things like that, they're in our control to some extent. This is a whole nother human being who was brought up in a different way, different area, is looking for different things. So there's a difference in our approach because the goal setting regarding house, citizenship, whatever it is, you reach and you smash because it's within your control. When it's to do with another person, that's where I think even my faith steps in, that I release it, that I have these visualizations, I have these goals, but ultimately, I only know what's best for me in this moment. I don't know in 10 years' time what's going to happen. And so I release it to God to say, okay, this is what I want. I've got my list, but actually, you know better. And so I'm going to leave that part of life to a sovereign power, but also declare what it is I want. I'm not going to remain silent because there's no point. Let me say what's all up. This is what I want. Okay.
Yeah.
Some things, I remember when we were looking for a house, I had my list and things. Most of the things were ticked off. Some things weren't, but it's okay. I'm enjoying where I am and I'm grateful where we are. I didn't put the council tax band that I wanted the house to be in. Do you imagine? That was very detailed. It's like I expect nothing less from you, Joyce. But yeah, I will say what it is I want as long as it's out there. I've said my piece, but I'm going to trust that the best will come for me and be for me. And so, yeah, there's that element. But definitely, I think one thing I'll say to women like us, relationships aren't the same as projects and, business and work, and it's different. It will take something different out of you. You need a different approach to it.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, Joyce, this has been absolute joy, as your name says, in it has that what the experience for you will be is the joy. And for the ladies who are listening, ladies, I will put in the note sections contact details to Joy. And if you are seeing a trend in terms of men that you are attracting, as Joy says, you are the constant. Maybe there's something that you can tweak in your profile where you can attract the person that you want, and you also can show your values, what you want, and who you are in a much better way. Joyce is your person, I swear to God. And she will bring joy throughout the conversation. I really enjoyed it because it's very personal to show somebody your profile.
Yeah.
Tell me what vibes you're getting. And you're sitting there hoping, oh, they're going to say it's good and it's them that they're the issue. And they suddenly go, you know what, Cam? The vibes you're giving is casual. I'm like, oh no.
Did you see it though, Pam? Did you see it when you looked? I mean, your profile is beautiful. I mean, you had the smile and the one on your bicycle. I still remember that. Even though it was ages ago. Beautiful. But did you see that casual vibe coming through?
I did, and I could see it through like even the pictures that I picked, and like the stuff that I had. It's like, okay, I see it. Only when you ask me, I think it's like, come, if you were a man, what vibes would you give? And I was like, okay, if I was a man, and I was like, I saw it there, but then I didn't see it when I was creating that. And I think it's quite interesting to get somebody else lenses on your profile, especially from somebody who was so intentional like yourself when it comes to dating profile and like attracting the person that you wanted, right? So it's just really nice. It's scary at first. I was uncomfortable, but I was like, if I'm gonna ask anybody, I'm gonna ask Joyce.
Well, you felt safe enough, and you were really open as well, which was good.
No, absolutely. And I'm like I said, like you've been so intentional about like the online dating that I haven't seen or met anyone before you. And since then as well, I was like, well, Joyce is the person for it. I'm gonna go to her because she's the best at it. So, and then we are friends and you done it in such a kind way. And like I could see the results straight away after like the 3 guys I went on a dates. There was such a different caliber of people. It's like, oh wow, that's so interesting that small changes. There were still pictures of me, but from different
Yeah.
angle, different vibration, I guess. And I just like a whole new world. I was like,
Oh, there's hope for sure. There's hope, and there's so many different layers to this. There's a mindset. It depends, if you've been said a certain thing about men, then actually, are we being?
mm,
You know what? When I ask women, sorry, I know we're ending, but when I ask women,
that's all-
what is it? What is it you're looking for? What is it that you want? So many times, women say, "These are the things I don't want. These are my red flags." I'm not asking what you don't want. I want to know what you're interested in, what you want. So let's focus on that because that is putting out energy out there. If you're focusing on things you don't want in life, well, how are you going to attract the thing you do want? It doesn't quite work. So, what are your values? What is you're looking for? But also seen from a different perspective and what type of things you can put out there that will attract the type of man you're looking for. Everything else is, yeah, a bonus. Yes, there's like physical things that I was looking for, but in all honesty, the values was really, really out there. But I didn't neglect the physical. Like I was like, I'm gonna, marry this person. I need to be attracted to this. So, got do your thing, which he did, which I'm very glad about. But yeah, it's yeah, being open to that, thinking in the other person's shoes, and then going from there.
oh, I love that. Well, Joyce, thank you so much. This has been absolute pleasure. And every time I speak with you, I always get this sense of hope and faith, like, it will work out and it will come. So thank you for that. And thank you for sharing your journey with me and our lovely listeners and the tips because I think they are so practical and so powerful. You'll be silly not to try.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you so much for having me. And I'm so glad that we've been able to have this conversation and that, you've seen and observed me over time and the reason and everything like that. And that she reached out because I really want this to bless and help a lot of women there who are hopeful, because your person's out there.
I love that. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. It honestly means the world to me. If something from today's chat made you smile, think, or feel seen, share it. That's how our Selfish Me community grows. This podcast is about real voices and reminding each other that we are not alone. We are all figuring out how to do life our way, and you are doing better than you think.